word for it over Naz's.
I was going to say, we trust Karma, that's fine.
Yes.
And we are live. Oh, we lost somebody? Oh, we got
It
some
was a
new
rabbit.
people.
I wasn't looking.
I saw it briefly. Ah, there's a bad player.
There he is.
Sorry. Talking to the wife.
You live with her. You could talk to her anytime.
She was gone all day.
So you have peace and quiet is what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Uh,
So what's up? What are we talking about?
We're supposed to be talking about A21, I believe.
Well, let's do it.
I mean,
How's
Carmen's
every-
usually
what-
on top of things, but since she was out of the country for like 2 weeks, like everything's discombobulated.
yep, this is what happens when I take vacation.
This is what happens when you leave me in charge.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna do it on
Okay.
Friday night at 8.
Hey, I was really pushing to make it sometime that our Down Under folks was able to join.
Speaking of our Down Under folks, where's Stallion been?
What time is it? I'm spicing it now. I just posted over in one of the other channels.
Sam, what time is it where you're at?
10 a.m.
8 a.m.? So he's somewhere
Yeah.
between 8 a.m.
Yeah.
and 10 a.m.
Oh, he's awake. I was talking with him earlier, so he might be taking one of the kids to or from work.
Oh, yeah, it's true, too.
Yeah.
Sam, how you doing?
Too bad. Busy.
Yeah, I can tell.
I'm glad that things calmed down a little bit in my personal life enough just in time for Alpha 21, so I've actually managed to get new servers up and running.
Nice.
Nice.
First time I've really done anything constructive with them for a year, so
All right, I guess we should get started. We actually have like some viewers this time, which I'm happy for. Thank you guys and ladies. I don't know what's in there because I can't see anybody's username because Discord's being stupid. But thank you for showing up. If you have any questions, just feel free to pop your mics off of silent and just ask. We are an interactive show here. So we're supposed to be talking about A21. And it hit stable. I thought it hit stable kind of early.
Fast.
You know, it was only like what 2 or 3 weeks, not even since experimental release, and like, hey, most of these bugs are features and not bugs right now.
It's Christmas all over again.
Right.
Christmas in now July coming up, but
Well,
you know.
Yeah, they did the same thing with Alpha 20. I swear. They released it to stable 2 weeks early just so they could hit the Christmas sale.
Right.
Oh yeah, I forgot about summer sale was coming up. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what they did. They dropped it, and the next day summer sale went live. So
Money,
games on sale, $6.
Yeah, it was like 74% off or something ridiculous.
I think it was 80. I don't know. It was just, I think it's the lowest price it's ever been on Steam.
Yeah, normally it's like $7.49 when it goes on sale, but I think it was under that. And I meant to pick up a copy because, so I have an adopted brother. The youngest one's 14. I have a few adopted siblings, and he just finished 8th grade, and he went to my dad and was like, "Hey, I would like a gaming PC." And my dad gave me this absurdly no budget number of like $150, and I'm like, I don't have shit laying around right now. So we ended up, kind of splitting it a little bit, and I'm going down there tomorrow, hence the earlier time for tonight's show, because I have to get up at 6 to get ready and drive down to Maryland and leave about 7. So over the last day or so, I put the computer together and everything, and I should have got him 7 Days to Die because he plays Minecraft. And I was like, damn it, I forgot it was on sale. So I'll just have to keep an eye out for a Humble Bundle sale. Or wait 2 weeks and it'll be on sale again on Steam. But A21, all right. Who has thoughts?
We have many.
That's a very dangerous way to phrase that.
Right.
Who has thoughts about A21?
I'm thirsty.
Get a drink. I wear a wireless headset, so I will walk out to my kitchen at some point and grab a drink.
Yeah, I do the same thing all the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why everybody is so upset about water. I have not had any issues at all.
What's this
karma.
upset about water? I haven't heard any issues about water.
I have players that are, can we have more? There's
The-
reasons why, but
The
I will say,
jars.
yeah, the biggest, like, one for me, the bigger thing was when they first implemented it. It was not fun. So bitching about it definitely made it
A priority.
less of an impact.
You,
Well,
you
less of a
still have
problem,
the
yeah.
stigma of it, right?
Oh yeah,
Stigma that we wouldn't have.
also, like, why the fuck change it now? Why, it was working just fine. No need to change everything. Yeah, just
Oh,
What, from blocks to whatever it is now?
well, but like no, I mean, like, why? It was just the dumbest thing ever. Like, the reasoning that I had originally heard was just so dumb.
We're talking about drinking water, not POI water. Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
Jars,
okay.
the drinking jars. of water.
Okay. I
The
think you're talking about
removal
like
of the jars.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a
Jargate. Right.
comment about blocks just suddenly made me think, I don't think we're all on the same page.
Yeah, I was thinking like the actual, water
Terrain
in the
water,
world,
yeah.
terrain water versus like drinking water. Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah. I found, like, in my first couple of playthroughs, getting water in the early game was an absolute nightmare. Like, unless you found a helmet water filter mod,
Yep.
you just always be thirsty, and all of your weapons rely on having stamina, so having low water would be killer. But it was a challenge, and it's been a while since I found the game a challenge without just ramping the difficulty up. So I liked it, and anybody who complained, I said, look, it's meant to be a difficult game. You're always complaining that you've been playing this for 5 years and it's not challenging anymore.
Well,
Right.
as much as
It's
I
different
don't like the water catcher, like getting rid of I don't like getting rid of the jars. All
Yeah.
right, because then they got rid of cans too, and you need the cans to make the oil. So, but I like more challenging because progressively with the last couple of alphas, they made this game a lot more simpler and easier for people who don't have a very long attention span to be able to play it. Not counting the, tens of thousands of people who've been playing it for, more than 5 years, more than 6 years, that as these alphas come in, they get, it gets less challenging. So, let's bring more challenging quests back in. One of the things I did see, I haven't seen them in game yet, is they were supposed to be bringing back some of the older POIs, circa Alpha 15 and 16. Where have you seen them in game?
Yes, but you can't recognize them from what they looked like in Alpha 15, 16 because they've all been updated
Oh yeah.
Well, updating
and
is fine.
renamed.
Actually, I did recognize. You know what? That's a lie. I did come across one. There was one of the wilderness cabins that had the chance of having a working forge in it. From Alpha like 14.7 to 16, and I did come across that in the when I had the experimental playthrough up. So I found one. Now, yes, it did look different, but after like I got in and looked around and realized, oh shit, this was this POI.
Mhm.
So, but I like the fact they're bringing some of them back, even if they're reworked, that not everything is a goddamn dungeon crawl. I should mention this stream is NSFW because I curse like a sailor. Actually, maybe more. I don't know.
I never swear.
I've always said the game is rated M for mature, so who cares?
So's the stream. Not for the faint of heart.
So, what is something everyone likes about Alpha 21?
The doors.
Yes.
No, I
The
hate
building-
the doors.
I love the doors.
I hate
You
them.
shut your dirty mouth. You shut your dirty mouth.
The reason I hate them is because they don't have a clean version.
Yeah.
Like
that,
if you
that
want
is
one,
weird.
So you have to knock them down.
It's
Yeah.
I
really
think
weird they have that.
I think they did it
walking
to
into the
save
trader.
on block data in the
Oh, yeah.
XML.
100%.
Is the
Probably,
reason they did it so that they didn't have to have so many different versions.
because of all the
But
different colors, and then if you had all the different versions of all the different colors.
yeah,
I
it is
learned.
still it is super annoying walking up to a trader and the door's at 50%, and I'm like, the fuck.
Yeah. How'd this
Oh.
get damaged? Oh, hang on. No, that's right.
It would be nice if there was an option where you could like set it individually, like because like obviously the model's there somewhere, we just can't see it, right? So if you had a way, at least in the prefab editors, to decide which version you wanted, kind of like how we can select which quality we have in our weapons and the stuff that we're building,
Mhm.
being able to select it that way, that would be nice. But I understand that would be a whole thing that they'd have to implement and yada yada yada.
Well, I don't understand why they can't make the doors texturable like you can with the crates, with the weapons and everything else. So that would cut down on the different variety of doors you would have to have and still be able to change the texture on it with a paintbrush.
Oh, be able to paint it.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah, I
Being able
think
to paint it is both good and bad. Like the text, like the colors, we're able to tint it to whatever color you want to. Like you can mod it in, and you could tint it. Like say you wanted a
True.
bright green. I would love a bright green door because I love that bright green. But I wouldn't have been able to do that if it was a texture. So I mean, like there's plus, yeah, it's interesting.
Well, I'm just saying, like either or, because right now you can't, to my knowledge, unless you do mod it, you can't.
even I think even with modding, you can't really. I remember back around alpha. I'm sorry, Jessica. I keep not being able to hear you when you talk. I didn't realize you were saying something.
I think
just
some
on
sound was
your
coming in
volume.
through the mic.
I think it's selective hearing.
That
Okay.
too.
Well, I remember around, I think it was Alpha 18 or Alpha 19, I had brought that up, the paintable doors thing.
Mhm.
And they were like, it's something to do with, because it's a moving
moving
object,
Yeah.
that
Oh.
the way the textures work, they weren't able to do it like that.
That's not necessarily true because I think around 17, when I was still a little bit active on the forums, I had asked on the forums about paintable doors because everything else became paintable, and Fatal just said just mod in a new door and just make it paintable. Just like take an existing thing, mod it so it's paintable, and then you can paint it. Now, again, that's like 5 years ago, 4 years ago, but
Did you actually ever do it though and see if it worked?
that become lazy.
How about this?
No, well, okay, so I play another game called Second Life, which is basically
Mhm.
XML.
I'm not a scripter. I don't know how to script. I'm lucky that I could have ever managed my server for the short time that I did, with a lot of help from probably a few people in this group. But basically, you can upload mesh. You don't have to go through Unity, but I mean, they have doors that move via script, that are you can change textures on. So
Is Second Life a voxel-based game though?
Not really.
Yeah, see, Voxel's a little bit different than, like, say, your Conan Exiles.
It runs on a different game engine for
It's,
sure.
Yeah.
it's probably Unreal Engine, if I had to guess.
No, it's its
No?
own engine. It's
Oh,
been
okay.
around since 2006.
Yeah, no,
So-
I've heard of Second Life. I've been PC gaming for a long time.
But
And-
it's mostly XML. So I mean, except for the proprietary scripting language, which is not that big of a deal. So I'm sure somebody smart in this group could make it and do it.
How about this?
I blame Siri.
Have a mod slot on the door and you can put a die in it.
That would be nice.
That might
I
work.
mean, if you're able to, well, I guess all the other stuff that you can have mod slots with die in it that are blocks. Well, are there any blocks that you can put? Because like vehicles are entities, so.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I mean,
well, is a door an entity?
Well, the placeable, technically the placeable vehicle that you carry in your inventory is technically a block.
Right. Yep.
But it is an entity. And then you would have all the doors would be entities. The game wouldn't like that.
No. However, if you couldn't make it through an entity, you got to mod something in with some kind of like demon face that would like trigger a sound or animation.
Oh, you should hear the freaking CP people. They are evil. They are Satan incarnate with the things that they're coming up with to kill people.
I'm gonna mention that door thing to Guppy. Guppy's a little less lazy than I am, so maybe he'll get around. He might do that.
Mm.
He's busy doing his own stuff. He's
He is.
cranking
He's
out
got
all
the whole
kinds of cool
medieval
stuff.
thing going.
I don't know if he restarted that or not. And by the way, if you don't know, that was my idea. It was me and Darkstar Dragon on Guppy's Discord that were talking about that, and that's how that came to life.
Yeah, I remember that. And if I had fair time, I would have joined in on it too.
But yeah, that's the last time I learned to talk about anything I wanted to do in public. Besides vague things. Like the beginnings, I'm going to be, well, I can't say but I'm putting a team together to work on a PvP mod, more or less once this goes gold, or maybe something in Alpha 22, but I've got a couple people that are working on some stuff. I have someone who is working on workstations and getting them in game. I have someone who's actually working on a progression XML right now. So it's not like any under pressure of a timeline, just like, hey, let's get things started and go from there and see what we get going, and see if anything playable comes from it. But it has a name. It's not going to be mentioned until it gets released, but
I like how you say that you shouldn't mention anything, and then you immediately go into explaining what you're going to do on a broadcast that's going to be posted and shared
Right.
to people.
Yeah, but the only thing it says it's a PvP focused mod.
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving nothing about the story away. I've given nothing about what assets are going to be, in
Oh,
there.
and the story? That sounds exciting.
Well,
I'll be curious to
Tell
see
us
it
about
when
it.
you get with it.
Darkness rises.
no, that is not it.
The one thing that 7 Days is sorely lacking is any kind of story, so I'd be happy to
Well,
see
that's
anything
mainly
that adds a
because
plot to the game.
I can't
they
promise the
do
story
have
will be
one
good.
planned.
Yeah, they do have one plan. I can't promise the story will be good. I still need to learn how to use, these AI bots that are, for a little bit of help developing the story. But what I do plan on doing is, once there's the story in there, I'm actually going to put in the loot books that you can find that will reveal part of the story.
That's a nice touch.
Comic books.
Kind of like Ark.
It's nice.
So I am looking for more team members if people, have some skills.
I can do 3D modeling. That's about it.
I just spent money on 3D models. Son of a bitch. CT Peers CT Peers? No. That's a
Welcome.
current site. Someone's, what is it, CG? Who the hell did I just buy them from? CG Trader has like a 50% off sale going on right now, and I picked up a few assets today. Right before we started, matter of fact. Some will be usable, one will be decoration. And then I plan to have some Easter eggs in there too. But I'm going to leave everything vague as far as content and story.
Maybe we can have you on a brain drain one day.
No, I don't like that show.
I like how they've changed the power attack on the sword, because the sword is my melee weapon. It's
The
my
machete?
pokey stick. No, the pokey stick. I love my pokey stick.
What the
The
hell?
spear?
It has a 3-block range, I think, and now in Alpha 21, you don't throw it. It's a 2-handed power jab, which knocks them back too.
The
I don't-
spear.
Oh, the spear, not because I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't.
Spear.
I thought you said sword. I'm like, I don't remember a sword being in the game.
I heard
No, sorry.
I was like, is that a mod? I want it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
we need swords.
We're
How,
gonna-
how we don't
Yeah.
have swords is beyond me.
All right, someone needs to make a Highlander mod where we just run around and cut each other's heads off.
I want the heads to pop off too, and roll and bounce like they do for the cops.
Yes. I love decapitating someone with a blunt object, Like
Oh yes.
generally, I'll do like an intelligence build, but I'll end up finding a shock baton, and I'm like, oh yeah, and I start beating them like because they they don't stop resisting, and then I just pop their head off like a pimple with a blunt object.
That's descriptive.
I like that.
I always knock the top half of the skull off. I don't get the full head.
Oh no, I got it in a dinner
Nothing wrong with
rolls.
that.
Yeah, I'm going back to the doors for a quick second. I'm still bitter that they put the iron doors back in like the jail cells, but they open like a normal door and they don't slide. So I'm still bitter they didn't bring back the sliding animation
Extremely annoying.
because
I mean,
made the elevator doors are annoying as well because they're so hard to close once they're open. There's like one line of pixels to click on to
mhm.
close them.
oh yeah, well, someone's got to
They
fix
need
that.
to make it so the the floor or the up and down button is the open close.
Yeah.
Do elevators
That's
actually
quite a
work?
bit bigger.
No,
No, the elevators
Okay.
don't move.
All right.
I think they
But
finally
the
took
doors
that
can open.
elevator test block out because they decided they were never going to get it to work the way they wanted to.
Oh, that
That's
sucks.
that's because they're shitty programmers. What did I say that? It's not shiny, so manual doesn't focus on it. So what else do we like or not like about Alpha 21? Because I tend to go off topic, and Karma didn't reel me in.
I can't say that I'm a real fan of the difficulty display all the time. I think that should be an optional setting, but I do like the way the POIs and the regions are scaled with the game stages and loot stages. That's a real bonus.
Now that
Yeah.
you mentioned them skulls, I think I might have to talk, work it out where in my mod everything's a five red skull, just so you don't know, or find a way to disable it. They're like, nope.
Yeah, I'd like to see a way to disable it. You can probably, I'm sure
There are
that
mods
if I
out
go
there for
poking
that.
around in the UI, it's pretty easy, but
Yeah, someone's done that one already. That's out there.
It'd be nice if that was a
I
single
like it.
switch.
I think it's useful on like a public server because you can say you can take a tier 1 or tier 2 POI, but don't take over a 3, 4, or 5, and people actually know. Like I spent the last 3 years answering questions about what tier a POI is.
That's why I don't let my people build into anything. I'm like, if you didn't build it, don't build it. Don't claim it. 'Cause I'm tired of that crap.
Don't touch it.
Don't build your own shit.
I'm much more lax.
I am.
Partly because I love taking over POI myself, so I don't want to be a
Oh,
hypocrite.
sure.
Yeah, I do it sometimes too when you're first starting out. Like you don't have material and you gotta like, hey, it's nighttime. I gotta find a place to live for a little while. And I mean, I don't like staying there. Like my friends will just stay there. I like building my own base.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not using the POI, but not everybody's down with that.
Actually,
I like
is
flipping them and
into the chunk reset. Sam, if you're letting people build in like the lower tiered POIs, then they're absolutely more active or more activity in the those areas, so the chunks aren't resetting.
yeah, I also don't worry about that because I just tell people to focus on using the quests. There's always fresh POIs if you're doing quests. If you want to go through a city doing POI by POI, you might find some of them have already been looted. Get over it. Go do a quest.
Yeah.
Who uses the chunk
or branch
resets?
out.
I've been using the chunk resets just to see how it works out because I don't like using the server manager ones that reset the regions. So I've enabled it. I'm gonna have to definitely tweak some things, and like we're doing some tests to see how far the land claims have to be into a chunk to suppress the chunk resetting. So I'm gonna switch
It's the distance.
Huh?
The chunk resetting is basically as long as a chunk doesn't get loaded. I mean, that's a timer. It's how long since that chunk has been loaded. And if I think on the default settings, if a player gets within like 5 or 6 chunk distances of the chunk, it gets loaded. So it's basically like almost a region file, like 500 meters. So if somebody gets within like 500 meters of that area, then it's not going to get reset.
But
I
Land
want to see.
claims should repress it too, right? Land claims.
Land
and
claim suppresses
UX.
it for the chunks that the land claim sits in.
But if like your land claim is like 1 block over the border into that other chunk, should it repress
Then that chunk is not going to reset.
That's what I was thinking too. So yeah, so we're playing around with how we like it. So there's certain areas in the world obviously that are going to have more people going through. So the likelihood of the chunk resetting is very small. So I'm
Mhm.
probably going to have to mod back in my respawning gore blocks, cars, and nests, obviously, just so people.
I
Yeah.
just do the car. I've been doing the POI resets,
Mhm.
and a lot of the times the cars that are in the street in front of the POIs get reset when the POIs reset.
Really? Okay, that's
Right.
interesting.
That's what I've seen.
The cars are probably part of the POI. That's why.
Yeah, but
I-
it should be just
I-
the POI, not the tile. Oh, if you're resetting you might be resetting the entire tile.
Yeah.
Because
That
yeah,
could
the
be.
tile counts as a POI too.
Yeah, so if you're in the tile, you'd be resetting the tile as well.
What I'd like to see is an overlay for the Alex map that'll show you the timers on the
Oh, that'd be
chunks.
fantastic.
So you
Oh
could
my
see,
God.
like, open the map and you can see like a heat map of activity, and all the red squares are the ones that are going to be reset in the next 24 hours or something.
Is
Is
that
that
something?
doable?
Is that something
I
that
don't know.
could
Ask
be added?
Prisma.
Yeah.
Alex isn't going to do it.
They might be able to do it on the new web dashboard,
Maybe in Alpha 22.
right?
And Alpha 25.
As far as I'm aware, the new web dashboard is very, very much an alpha of an alpha.
It's good so far. It tells you what mods are loaded. It has a control panel option in there. I mean, I think it looks pretty good. I mean, I still use the old web map just because, and then I use CSMM. But
Wait a second. What? Web map? Did I miss something?
The web dashboard.
It's
web-
built into the new web dashboard.
yeah, it replaces the control panel that they had. It's now
Yeah,
one
the old
panel.
shitty control panel that nobody
Vanilla?
used because of crap.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sent
What
with the game.
That's what
Where
those
is
TF.
this?
That's what those TFP folders are for.
Yeah.
I don't look at all that shit.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Since Alpha 20.4, they're like, we're going to move the mod folder. We're going to move the mod folder. Now they have built-in mods.
Yeah.
So how do you
In the old
Wrong folder.
location.
Yes.
so how
yes.
how do you access this web thing?
It's the
It's-
control
it's
panel
the-
port.
The port is set by your server config.
Yeah.
If
Normally is
if
what,
you have it
80,
enabled,
80?
8080
Yeah.
is the default.
All right, I'll probably have to.
I never use
And you have to
defaults.
enable it.
Yeah, in the server config XML, you have to turn it on. Just like if you want to use the
Right.
visit map command, you have to turn on the map rendering in the
I have my
server
map
config.
rendering turned on because I have that for the chunk resets.
Yeah. Players never get to see my map.
Yes.
There's no reason
I
for
am
them
nice.
to see it. No.
I want my people to see it so they don't build so freaking close to everything. That gets tiresome.
No.
I don't want them to see it so they can actually go explore the world.
Yeah, that's what I did. I turned it off for everybody except our donors. Our donors can see it. Nobody
Yeah.
else can.
If I have mods,
I've got mine static in the pause menu, but it's like you have to go looking for it. So if people say they want to explore, they just don't look at that tab in the pause menu.
Watch it, Sam. They're coming after you.
But I never do run visit map either. I just
I don't do that.
oh, we
let
lost
it
some people.
My
let it.
people have to. My people have to explore, but I let everybody see what everybody else has explored.
Hey, we lost some people.
Yeah, the
It's
There
when
is
you
a
it's when you
command
said
for heat
TFP were shitty programmers.
Forbidden Worm and Jessica and
yeah. Yeah. Oh, OC joined us. He's here now.
There is a command for a
Easy.
heat mapper.
does that work on the Deddies?
If
No,
you-
yeah,
if-
not on the
used to.
servers though.
If you type
Yeah,
heat
that's one.
map, it should show you all the chunks and their ages or whatever when they're going to be reset.
Nice.
That's
on,
interesting.
On the server?
Oh,
As-
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I haven't
one-
used the heat
one
map
word,
command
heat
in
map.
forever because it didn't work on the Deddy.
Right, only single player.
And I
I'm
don't play single player, so
still stuck on this whole web
Single what now?
thingy. Have to go find. Mind blown.
You know, I have actually played single player before, but I still do it on a dedicated server.
I only
My
load.
first 700 hours was single player.
I only load single player if I'm testing a mod I'm working on.
I do that too.
Yeah, I've actually played single player for about 5 minutes. And that was in 2013. I didn't enjoy it. I uninstalled the game and went, "That was rubbish. I don't enjoy that." And then about 5 years later, my mate came along and said, "You should play this game." I'm like, "Oh, it looks like I already own it."
Hey everyone.
And the rest is history.
The rest is history. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Now we run servers together.
October,
Aw.
November 2013 was when I got it, and by December we had at least 2 or 3 dedicated servers up.
All right, guys, I
Okay.
need to jump off. I've got to go take care of some stuff. So
Okay.
nice to see you all,
Sam.
so to speak.
Yeah. Good talking to you, Sam.
Take care, everyone. I'll see you again soon, I hope.
See ya.
Hopefully.
Ciao.
Bye.
See ya. Bye.
What did I miss?
Oh, there it is. Web dashboard enabled.
Oh.
Yeah, they're gonna integrate it, and I think they're gonna drop the older locks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at least general
Definitely.
support in
What
A22.
once it's fully finished, then Alex legacy mods are going to go away.
Right. He put that on his website too.
Yeah. So is everything getting incorporated that he already has?
I think that's the
Eventually.
plan. Yeah.
The
They're
only
even
thing it's really
expanding on
miss-
it, if anything. They're gonna make it so it's more like a web portal for other modders to use it.
The only thing it's really missing as far, from Alex is just the inventory and like a few stats, level and stuff like that.
Yeah, being able to set it up to see all the land claims and stuff like that too.
Right.
Although I haven't really looked at editing it to see what I can reconfigure, but
Right. Yeah, 'cause some of it's kind of weird.
Oh, we had some people pop on the YouTube channel, but I keep forgetting to load when we do this.
Oh, hey, should turn that on.
Yeah, Voltron the Blue Lion was on there, and Reaper Grim's still there. Oh, Mage Josh was there. He's in this Discord. I don't know why he goes to YouTube. He is in this Discord.
Being stealthy.
And
Mhm.
I mean, I reminded him
Fine.
on Guppy's Discord that, like, hey, we got the show tonight, but, you're on this Discord. Come be a part of it. Oh, hey,
Oh,
look.
it's
Bob the
Bob.
Blue Blob. Welcome, Bob. Let's put him on the spot.
The blue blob of goo. Like
Giggity.
Bob Loblaws, Loblog. I think I went through this last time that it was there, yeah. All right, so circling back to this whole web dashboard thing. I mean, we really focused on that.
In
You just
in game in the console, what is it?
create web user.
Create
Web user.
Right.
And then
All run together.
you'll sign in.
Yeah, what it'll do
That
is
way.
it'll give you a link. You click the link, it'll take you to it, and then you create your username and password.
okay.
Is that the question you had?
So I have to actually get into the game. I can't
Yes.
just like copy my live map. Okay.
No, you gotta do
Alright.
it from in game. It's not like you're adding a web token.
I wonder
Okay.
I wonder if you knew the link, if you could just cheat it that way.
That's what I was trying to
No.
do.
No, it generates
It's
a link.
created unique for your account because
that's
it's
how
tied to your
the Steam
permissions.
link is made, right?
Okay, that's my next question is like, how do I keep my players from figuring this out?
Well, it's even if they use it, it only has their level permissions to it, which by default is like nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. I've played with just making my admin level 1000 and you don't see much. It is a little bit buggy. It does show a little bit too much stuff, but
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I did request that some of those be hidden, and I think they might be in a future update.
they've updated it once already. I think when Alpha 21 first dropped, it was like build 313. Now it's up to like 318.
I don't know. I haven't looked at it much as
Uh,
far as versioning goes.
I think it's like B234 or something like that.
I'm
Well,
talking
that's
the
the
web
that's the
dashboard.
alpha version. He's talking about the dashboard.
Oh, the dashboard. Oh,
Ah. So you're saying there's different versions of that as well? Fun. Yay.
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you fix one bug and 99,000 bugs appear.
Because I need more numbers to remember. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What other cool A21 things are people loving or not?
Pumped for all the mods coming out. A lot of new ideas.
Yeah. When are we getting workshop? Is that going to be beta or gold?
That's going to be closer to release.
Okay.
I mean, and their reasoning for that is pretty good.
Because they have a lot of bugs to fix.
Well, mostly because, any mods that came out right now would be obsolete by the time the game releases.
Yeah.
But also because they don't really have the fully, solidified mod foundation for the game yet. So once they have that all fully ironed, then they can work on the workshop support for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would suck to have a workshop and have a bunch of outdated stuff floating through. And sorry about saying hi earlier. Push to talk was on. I couldn't remember which key I'd set.
Yeah.
Probably a mouse button, right?
Yeah. Mouse button, middle mouse button.
Yeah, I just set it to button 5 on my mouse, but
Wait a second.
I think mine's T for talk.
I'm waiting.
Or V for voice.
Oh, never mind. I was like, it won't let me copy and paste. Oh, I pressed the button and it takes me to. Okay, got in. Thank you.
Yeah, it opens the link in the browser.
Hello.
Which I need to figure out how we do that.
Hey, Din.
Hello, hello.
Is
No
that
kidding.
Din? Did Din show
It
up?
was. Sorry,
Didn't know
my Windows 11 update kind of decided to almost take my computer.
Don't you know?
Yeah,
you're
they've
not
been doing that.
You're supposed to skip Windows 11. It's every other version of Windows.
Yeah.
10
Yeah.
good,
They only
11
even number.
bad, 12 good.
I tried
there
to
gonna be
early
a 12?
adopt. Yes, there is. They've already talked about it.
Oh yeah, Windows
Oh.
12 is being developed. Yeah, there's already been some articles and this and that.
yeah, they started on it a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Yep. They're already going to sunset Windows 11 because they're considering it like Vista, ME, almost Windows 8.
Yep.
Yeah, it's.
I
every
mean,
other one. It's like the
all this
beta
after
for the good Windows.
all this after they said Windows 10 was going to be the last version.
Yep.
Right.
But then
What?
they realized they're gonna, book themselves out of billions of dollars because hey, we don't have a new Windows release every 3 to 5 years, or 5 to 7, whatever the life cycle is.
Well, they were going to try to do the Apple thing, but that didn't really work out.
No.
Yeah. I tend to go get them anyways just because with me being in IT, I know how to troubleshoot a lot of the people or a lot of issues people have rather than just kind of guessing and looking around.
Well, that's one thing. So you get it and run it in a VM. But the other thing is businesses don't upgrade OSs that often.
You're going to have to now.
It's only when basically you're putting computers out of service and then bringing new ones in.
Oh, I know. The company I work for just now got rid of, I think, their last Windows 7 ones. And they're a big chain hospital.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because of the software the hospitals use.
Right.
I work in a similar industry, and we have a couple of computers like that because the software doesn't run on anything newer.
Yep. Kind of sucks how they don't have that little built-in VM like they used to.
It's funny you mentioned that. Doing a lot of modding, and when you really go deeper into this game, you start realizing some of the depth and the lack of certain things that should be developed or in different directions, and it kind of reminds me of what we see in government and big corps. They all repeat these same errors.
Yes.
You're not wrong.
Yep.
Is there any upcoming mods that anybody's looking forward to? Like Darkness Falls?
September, Darkness Falls.
Yeah.
I
Kane,
think everybody's waiting.
Yeah, Kane's very adamant about that. You know, people are like asking him every day. I think he's gonna lose his shit on somebody.
Oh, probably.
It's still not out. Because I'm not casting shade or anything like that. There's a lot of changes.
Yeah, he's got months of work to do
Oh
to be
yeah.
able to bring that out, and like he's saying, you know, like it's not gonna be out anytime soon. Yeah. He's like, it's not.
Oh.
He don't even think it. You know, he's like predicting like alpha 21.2 or 3 before anything. 'Cause he wants, you know, more bugs to get worked out.
Right. Well, I mean, given the amount of stuff in Alpha 21 right now, I mean, it's not surprising.
Yeah,
And, like they put that test server up, and when Hated wrote the post for it, he's like, "We're gonna run this for a couple of weeks," and then yesterday morning, Roland was like, "We're gonna run this for about a week," and then last night they're like, "Okay, we're shutting it down."
Really? They
Because
shut it down
apparently,
already?
because they got they managed to get most of the information they needed. Actually, just within the first couple of hours of having it up and running, Alec had already written like 3 or 4 fixes based on the data they collected for that. And something else that's curious about that is they set the max player count to 32.
Yeah, I think they're probably going to up the.
They said that they were collecting data on I/O and bandwidth.
Mhm.
So I think that they may be looking towards increasing the supported player count.
Nice.
Man, that should really help the optimizer.
Yep.
Well, I mean, already with the network optimization that they've done and the other optimization Alpha 21, I've been running stable 30 players, 14K maps in the testing that I did early on. So
14. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm running Fluffy's.
Down.
I'm running Fluffy's 16K map, and it's just for my family right now. But with all of us on, we have about 15 people, and I haven't restarted the server in 4 or 5 days, like the actual game.
Are you running that on Linux or Windows?
Windows.
Huh.
And I'm not having any issues. The only issue I've seen is occasionally it'll kind of like freeze in a way. Not too sure what's causing it. I haven't seen any errors or anything, but it doesn't happen often.
The light net freezes often. Once you get over a certain amount of people, there's something wrong with the disconnect process.
That
it like bottlenecks inside the queue, and
I think there's already a fix for that in 21.1.
Ooh, nice.
That's a huge one.
The other thing I have, it's probably because of a mod I have, I'm not too sure, is I have 2 of my kiddos. It's set to not drop anything, and I have 2 of them that drop stuff when they die. Only 2. Everybody else is fine.
We did have that happen on the test server yesterday.
Okay, so maybe there is something known about that then.
Yeah, that's pretty weird. Yeah, as long as we're running less than about 16 players, I don't have to restart vanilla. But once we go over that, I have to restart it about every 3 hours.
Yeah. So
when you're saying 16 players, are you saying concurrent or like just?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So yeah, like the vanilla's set to take 40 with 10 donator slots, and we're usually floating around 20 to 25 active at any time on it. But like right now, there's 10 in, and I'm sitting at like 6.3 gig of used actual game memory on a 10K map that's mostly explored. It's running
a lot
really
more
light.
reserved,
it's nice.
but
yeah, they've done a good bit with the optimization on the RAM usage and whatnot.
Campfires.
Yeah, I'm really liking 21. I mean, it has a lot of bugs, but it's definitely a much nicer build. So it's a good move forward.
I'm definitely looking forward to Bandits, and I've been looking forward to Bandits since they said they're going to have them in A17.
Yes.
I was a
Well,
little
they
worried.
started talking about them in A17, but they had the code for them in what, A13, A14?
They did, but
Yeah.
I mean, they hired someone who said he knew how to do the AI, and he lied. And they went out and hired an actual person to do AI, maybe 2.
Yeah, that other guy screwed up a lot of stuff. That's why Alpha 17 took so long.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say, he didn't really do too well.
18 months. I mean, Alpha 21 was 16 months in development too.
For that matter, they're still having a lot of AI problems, like floaty zombies, things getting stuck. If you get over certain player counts, they freeze up. There's some weird stuff going on.
Well, that's all the data they just collected. Maybe.
My sitting at 10 gigs of RAM basically usage on 7 days, but my Conan that I have run on the same servers taking up 30 gigs of RAM.
Why is Conan using so much?
We're running 48 mods.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's why.
Conan's also not.
All the mods.
we try to keep it under 10, just because.
I just
It's a lot.
I just snagged a. Go ahead.
You mean mods add FPS drain?
You mean mods use RAM? Especially
Yeah,
when
right.
they're unoptimized? I don't
Just need to download more RAM.
I don't understand why
Yeah,
I have
right.
52
Put
mods
RGB
running.
on your server.
Yeah. Orange. You're gonna go to orange.
Orange.
I bought this. I
Somewhere
just bought
fire.
a used R720, 128 gigs of RAM. Didn't come with any hard drives. I upgraded to the top CPUs for it, which only cost me like $40 for the CPUs, and so I'm
Nice.
running what is it, 20 or 40 cores, 80 threads, something like that on it.
Wow.
Something stupid, and this thing has just been great for both games.
Well, the thing with Conan, it's not the number of cores, it's the gigahertz. Because I looked into that before.
Yep.
And I'll be a little bit excited once I have the money to upgrade my server to the 7950X and whatnot from the 3950X it is for the higher gigahertz that I can, maybe I can get like a 75 player Conan server.
Yes. Oh man, eventually I would love to get something like that, but that's far out of reach right now.
Yeah. I mean, the 3950 isn't no joke as far as like running the server stuff. I mean, it's still got good, but it's not like that 5 gigahertz that you really need.
Yeah, our Conan server runs anywhere from 10 to 20 people at all times, and it's not too bad.
Yeah, the R7, we've got 710s is what we've been running on for a long time, but finally upgraded the one that we were having the 7 days servers on to the 5950X.
Oh, apparently.
Find a big difference in stability when you're playing the game? Like, is it noticeable?
With the 5950, it's a little snappier, but I mean, it's not a hugely noticeable difference other than the system. I mean, it responds a lot better.
It always surprises me because when you look at the CPU loads, they're really low. This game's not really utilizing the CPU very well.
Because it's still tied to the one core for the main thread.
Well, yeah, that's true.
On Linux, it'll use more cores, but it's still the child things that go out to all the other 24 cores don't actually do a whole lot.
Yeah, true. I've noticed that. I've been working on an optimizer for a bit, and a lot of this stuff is very, I don't know what you would call it, almost rudimentary. It's very baseline kind of operations, almost like running a really quick calculation in a second thread, and that's it. There's nothing really advanced going on. So,
Speaking of the optimizer, have you updated that at all recently?
well, unfortunately, there was a leak, so I put it on hold until I can figure out where.
A memory leak or someone leaked it?
Somebody leaked the actual file. They posted it into the main forum for A21.
Oh, really?
Who was it? Name and shame.
Grandpa Minion.
Oh, That
No,
dude's
That
banned.
pick.
As soon as I
fucker.
say that name, everyone's like, "Oh,
Ah.
grandpa!"
That
They
guy's
start
banned
shaking their
here.
fists. They're like old man
banned
yelling at the
everywhere.
clouds. Yeah.
He's
You know-
banned everywhere.
You should have
You know-
contacted
Yeah.
Sai about that when you saw it before
Y-
you taking it down.
exactly. Yeah. Tell me about that. I'll take care of it. Send me a link.
Yeah.
Pew 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 pew.
He got it deleted. He got it removed. We made sure it's not a big deal. But
Okay.
do you want to know about the optimizer? Have you even heard about it?
Yes.
Well,
I have.
we mentioned it before like, you know, it was kind of like public that you were making one, but I haven't
Yeah.
spoken about it since. And I haven't gotten any messages from you in like a month, and that's why I was like popped to check in on you the other day. I'm like, you live?
Yeah, I've been really busy with server tools,
I-
trying to get everything caught up.
Yeah, I figured that's what it was, but you know, you were doing like 82, you know, releases a day on the optimizer for so long, and I'm like, I haven't heard from him. I hope he's, you know, I hope nothing happened to him.
Well, I hit a really stable point, and this is, I mean, I haven't really discussed it much, but at the end of A20, we had over 40 people and over 200 zombies, and it was a straight 80 FPS on the server side. It wasn't
Nice.
dipping anymore, and I found there was a lot of things going on that were more client-oriented. They shouldn't be running these things, like certain physics calculations, or there's things that are all basically replication methods that you would only do if you thought somebody was cheating. You don't normally do this anymore for games past like the 2000s. This was an old method they called OOF,
Mhm.
and this game, the engine itself is starting to go into ECS, which is a completely different pattern used for game development. So I'm starting to see that the developers are actually using ECS now. They're trying to set up for the job system, but they've got all this really old code that's using the OOF method, and like it's pretty shoddy stuff. You can't really use it very effectively. This is why you're stuck with one thread. Why things aren't getting optimized very well. It's kind of a slow process because you've got to change a lot of code.
They do have a specialist that they brought in to work on that.
Ooh,
So I know that's going to improve in the future.
yeah, they need it for sure. I could really see the game starting to get limitations in their content. Even putting in the bandits, I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled them back because, well, the CPU is kind of bottlenecked. There's really no space left to put more into it till they fix this.
And maybe
Then
that's
get it to utilize more threads.
Yeah, exactly. And bandits could probably be their own thing. The AI could even be on its own core. But right
Right.
now, yeah, it's a disaster. There's no way. But back to the optimizer anyway. Yeah, I've been working on basically making sure I could spread the load of the game. The way it works is that everything's, like you said, bottlenecked in one thread. The Unity engine does a thing called a tick, a game tick, and that's making all the different parameters of the game, different managers and sections of it trigger. And depending on the depth of them, they should probably be multi-threaded, but because it's the old pattern, they've all been sort of overlapped over the years and never really optimized or made congruent to work with each other. So when you look at the overall, it's like there's just so much going on in this game. There's too many layers to it trying to go through one processor.
Mhm.
So if you even just took half of that work and spread it out, that's more than enough that the game runs smoothly. Which is a little funny, like it's not far off from being a pretty perfect game. They just need to take a little bit out of the main thread here and there. But anyway, yeah, back to the optimizer. The whole point of it is just to spread the work out, make it use more cores, and yeah, I've actually achieved that. So it's been using 4 threads or 4 logic cores.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And it can use more. I can program 8 or 16. It doesn't really matter, but there's limitations to the way the game's coded. Like I say, it's the OOF pattern. So I could put more threads onto something, and most people would think, oh, why don't you just dedicate a thread to this? It's like, well, it's just not that easy.
the game's
Right.
not made that way.
That's it. It's like when you handle simple things like your RAM, some memory thing, something stored in there. There's ways to store it safely so that multiple threads can use that data and write to it. And then there's ways that are meant for single thread. And if the game's all written in single thread, I can't just put it on another core and be okay. Everything starts to crash quite quickly. So I spent about 6 months behind the scenes working with probably some of the bigger servers, I guess, doing a lot of tests and just figuring out what makes the game tick. Which was great in A20, but A21 has unfortunately broken something, and I haven't really had time to look at it or see what's the bottleneck. Something needs optimizing because I think it's cramming into the main thread again. Everything I kind of took off as a relief so that it would run smooth looks like it bottlenecks after about 30 players. But you can still get 40 to 50 players with about, I'd say 40 to 50 FPS, quite smooth. So it's
That's
definitely
pretty
an
good.
improvement.
Yeah, I'd be interested in that when you have it
Yeah.
ready. I know I
Yeah.
did hear about it. I heard from one of the server owners that you were testing with. I don't remember who it was.
Yeah,
Probably Salty Zombies or somebody like that.
Yeah, Salty's had a Grandpa Zipcore with Dirty Loot.
Now you know not to give it to Grandpa again.
You know what though? He's been a prime tester. So for as much as that was a big screw up, I really owe him for all the work he's done and the reports, and it wouldn't have gone anywhere it has without him. So bravo
You
to
are
him.
very
anyways.
nice.
Yeah,
At least
I should be more angry, I guess.
at least there's more. At least there's some positivity that came out of him having it and using it.
Yeah.
But
And you know what? It couldn't stay hidden forever. It was
Well-
going to go public regardless.
right, but it wasn't his job to make it go public either. It's
Yeah.
yours.
It was more the way he used it. He used it like a weapon in the forum to try and prove something about optimization in the game.
Yeah.
Sticking his tongue out kind of thing. And I'm like, that's not yours, and it's not your project to use in that kind of manner. I don't know
Yeah,
why
he
you
does
do
stuff like that a lot.
Yeah. So I gave him some shit about that and just said, don't ever do it again. Or yeah, you are cut off for sure.
I love giving him a hard time because he doesn't have any player kills.
I just like to ignore him.
It's like, you haven't got that achievement yet? I got it like 2 years ago. What's up? You get 26,000 hours. Come on.
Yeah, he got his ass banned from
Bullshit.
70 AC. So once you're banned here, you don't come back.
Well, from what I know, it wasn't him personally, but somebody gave him information about what happened to the main servers, the test server for the pimps, and so they know.
Oh, he logged onto it a couple of times.
Oh yeah. He warned them. He's like, guys, you've allowed things like the DM and the CM. People
No, they did that on purpose.
Well, people just turned on the there's certain tools, dev tools, that allow you to change things like the trader space. So they just removed the trader.
Yeah.
That's why they shut it down. And I think they turned on PvP at first, and then somebody
It was
complained and
because
they
they
shut
had that
down
as default.
PvP.
Yeah, we had a lot of players complaining, and I mentioned it, and so then they went and turned it off and rebooted the server.
Oops.
I mean, if we were trying to get people to come into the server and test stuff, and people were coming into the server and getting planked by level 1 players with bows just camping the spawn-in coordinates. So
That didn't surprise me.
Was that Navis game server? Or was it RWJ?
yes, it was Naviscane.
I think people were confused about the point of the test.
Yeah.
They thought you were doing a very general multiplayer test, not like a network test. They didn't
They were
read
trying to
about
get their achievements.
Well, they wanted people to test the POI issues, and they wanted to, because I think it was an updated Naviscane map. And there was something else, I forget what it was.
Herpes.
They had the IO optimization, and the T-pose issue was something they were kind of looking into, but nobody had really given them any information on that so far. So
I don't know what they fixed between 20 and 21, but I noticed now you can have people join your server and then not take a complete shit when they're downloading the map. Because in Alpha 20, if you had people playing and then someone
Uh-huh.
wanted to download, it just crashed the server.
I know. It didn't matter that you had plenty of bandwidth and plenty of CPU. It was kill the frame rate on the server.
No,
Yep.
I've had mine crash. Like literally, it crashed
Yeah.
and restarted because I run
No,
it on
we never had that.
I run it on
I've
a
had it.
on a Linux container. I have my guaranteed upload speed is 880 megabits. I get somewhere about 920 usually. So I have the bandwidth. So I don't know.
I can
The
kind of
client doesn't
explain that
even.
part. I found the bug in that and reported it recently. It's
Oh, okay.
basically they added encryption to the packets, the net packets, in something like Alpha 19 or something,
Mhm.
because people were doing packet manipulation hacks.
Mm.
Problem being is that when you connect after you hit the login point, you start encrypting all the packets, including your chunks and the download packets.
Oh.
So what's happening is your main thread is wasting its time encrypting files.
Man, that sounds like it could be done on like a third thread or something.
It should be.
Interesting.
Do you even have to encrypt those though?
No, and that's where it's kind of a bug. It's an oversight. They obviously meant to stop the hackers and just didn't
Stopped
really look at
everything.
the overall process. Yeah.
Now I know we have some people floating out there that haven't said anything. I see Flooded's here. He's there, and Chula.
Josh is here. Mage.
Yeah, Josh. I had to yell him on
Hey, I've said stuff
YouTube.
a couple
He has.
times.
And then
I just figured I'd peek my head in here and say hello, by the way.
Josh had questions too.
yeah, Talzoid.
Hey, flooded.
What's up, guys?
Feel free to chime in. Interactive. Next thing I think I'm going to do is see about maybe getting these on. I don't know how you actually put these on someplace for an actual podcast, but I have software that I can turn them into a podcast.
Right, you were talking about that, weren't
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, I loaded that onto my web host, so
Hmm.
I haven't actually sat down and play with it. I just installed the software via their control panel. But it'd be interesting if I could get this on a platform that does podcasts. Because essentially, I guess that's what this is.
Sure.
I have no idea. I call it the show. I don't know.
I saw YouTube recently expanded to also include podcasts, and there might be something in the Creator Studio to auto send these over as podcasts when they're done.
To where?
Just in your Creator Studio. I'll take a look.
No,
after
no,
the stream and
I mean,
forward it over.
where does it send it to be a podcast?
Only on
There's an option
YouTube, right?
for-
Yeah, YouTube has a new expanded podcast section. That
Oh,
they came out
okay.
with. Like a week or two ago, I saw the announcement. So, it may still be rolling out for all I know. I didn't read the whole article.
Yeah, it's all right. I don't always read everything either. Like, oh, this sounds interesting. All right, I'm done. It's TLDR. Just give me the summary.
Basically.
I think Spectral wants it on all the major platforms.
I don't know if you'd be able to survive on the major platforms just because it's not safe for work.
I think
don't think many of them are.
XM Radio is fine with that. Sirius is fine with that.
Well, I was thinking more maybe like Spotify, something like.
I think they
hey.
have adult stuff. I listen to rap on there.
Now, are we talking like NWA rap, or are we talking like?
Yeah, like classic rap.
Oh, okay, the good stuff.
Good rap.
Yeah. Like I have one of my Spotify lists. I have the explicit version of CeeLo Green's "Forget You," "Fuck You." Because
I love that one.
like
Yeah, I'm thinking more like NWA Today Was
Yeah.
a Good Day kind of era.
Right.
But,
yeah, back when rap was good.
But I like storytelling.
God, I miss the '90s.
I know, right?
The 90s were the best for music, for sure.
Yes.
I recently created a custom playlist on Pandora for it.
I'm just waiting on, like culture comes in waves, and so like for a while bell bottoms came back for a couple of years. So
Mhm.
we can't be too long before we get a repeat of the 90s, but with today's technology.
Oh,
and that
yeah.
is going to bring on a really cool Max Headroom ripoff that I can't wait to see.
Now, well, Max Headroom was the
Oh,
80s, but
Yeah,
yes.
the original, yeah, but I'm talking like he became a cult classic in the 90s.
Oh yeah, yeah. Now, if we could get the movies as good as they were in the 90s now, that'd be really good too. Because
Yeah, it's gonna
Hollywood's been
happen.
shitting themselves, and now they're not
Yeah.
paying their writers, but I'm not going to go off on that.
Well, I mean, it's like that production studio. I saw a report on it this morning. They put it in their contract so that new actors signing on, they'll get recorded once and can be used in generative AI for movies and such.
Oh wow!
For perpetuity.
Yeah.
Without compensation beyond the first payment. And I was like, I would never sign that. No one should.
Nope.
I hope they don't.
Nope.
I don't see how that's legal, to be honest.
I mean, the problem with the law is largely is in contracts. It's you agreed to it, unless it's in gross violation of some existing law.
Right.
Which I hope that is, but I don't know.
Well, the actors are going on strike now too.
No actor should agree to that.
Right. But I mean, not even because of that. They're joining because of the writers. Like Deadpool 3, they just stopped production today.
Well, I mean, that's because their main actor is also a writer, and he's not allowed to ad-lib, which is the charm that makes that series.
Yeah, 100%. 100% on that, yes. So, Alpha 21. What else do we have?
So you guys have talked a lot about servers, and like.
Well, that's what we do
your
here.
Experiences, and I'm curious, like, so what are you seeing in play styles on your servers? Like, what are the Zergling Swarm player group doing?
Like right now on my server, I have one of my old mods. She's playing again, and then a few of my friends. Like I haven't had a very popular server since like Alpha 15, 16, and I miss that. But now everybody's like throwing up servers, so now it's harder to compete in a market that's flooded. If you want to go back to like, the late 90s, early 2000s with everyone going to school, for all them little IT trade schools that popped up and, flooded the market with IT people. So it's kind of what's going on. There's like a lot of, a lot more servers because people are figuring out, oh, well, I can do this now. And, I think it's harder now to have a more successful server than it was a few years ago.
I think that's gonna 10x as soon as consoles drop.
Well, I mean the console plebs are still crying, but they're gonna have to rebuy it. They're not getting an update. They're getting a new game, and the previous gen consoles aren't gonna be able to run it.
Yeah, but people now buying consoles now will see that game go on sale and buy it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, plus, they plan on having a discount program for people who own the previous version.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know what it's going to be. Last I saw, they were trying to work it out with Sony and Microsoft to be able to do that. So, we'll figure, we'll see when that comes out. I don't even know what studio's working on it because I don't think they released that.
No, they haven't.
And it's
in Australian studio, I believe.
Okay. So
that's all I know about it.
Right. So, like all these console plebs are like, we want the update. I'm like, no, you don't. You really don't, because the best version of the game was the version you have, at least in my opinion. Before they added
14.7 and then with some 15 content.
Yeah, with some 15 content, right. So, that's when the drawbridge came out. The sliding jail doors came out, and a few other things. But to me, that's like the best version of the game, even with all its issues. If you would have kept that vision and then fixed all the shit like it is now without adding attributes, as Manuel calls them, and that's a different word altogether, but it's attributes. Attributes, Manuel, But I hate the fact it's got strength and agility and this and that, and then it's now your skills or perks are now gated because of that. I don't like that. You know, if you're going to have that, that should be a bonus to what you already have, not a requirement to have it. Especially because you can find magazines or books for everything now.
Well, I mean, if we're going to veer off into our opinions, I'm going to go heavy on this one and go, I agree. The skills could take some major reworks. I like Learn by Looting. It's fun. But I've liked each version of the system is the problem. Because I don't think the system itself has ever really been the issue. Honestly, I'd love it if we went back to components on items as well.
Oh yes,
same
yes,
thing
I
for
love that.
vehicles. Like that would be my preferred method. But you know,
So
I
here's what-
guess to a certain extent, you gotta like play to the market. But
Yeah.
and yeah, there are some elements that I would prefer were simplified because they're largely unnecessary.
Yeah. Here's a question
for
for
what
you.
we're playing.
For you, what area of modding do you focus on?
Focus is a problem that I have had my entire life as a person with ADHD.
So what areas of modding do you drift
I have
towards?
recently learned Unity. I went through the tutorial project and I made a block and a tree and a couple sticks.
I mean,
Next is melee
you're a
weapons.
blue on Guppy's Discord, so what?
But
how did you get
I
there?
have done XML backwards and forwards. I've forgotten more about XML and XPath than I know currently. But my special skill is that if you have a question, I can probably look at the vanilla code, like the XML, without ever learning C#. I've just started getting into that. And I can work out, okay, this calls this is how everything connects, because in my brain, I just see how all the XML connect. I didn't know configs dump existed for my first year of modding.
You're like the good doctor of XML. The things just like highlight for you in your brain.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, this connects here and here and here, and this is, obviously required somehow on the back end. And if you don't have it in these places, then it doesn't connect and it doesn't work.
So I have another question to follow up. Are you attached to any projects currently for modding?
Attached to a project. What does
Like-
that mean?
like-
I'm a tester for NPC mod.
Okay, so are you a developer for any other mods currently? Like, example, Darkness Falls or Undead Legacy or anything like any overhaul mods like that?
I would love to pitch in and help with any of those overhaul mods. I have a pet project and I have I have Trapped in Purgatory, but I decided to let that die for A21 just because it's a massive project. First off, you have to wait until the community releases a bunch of mods so that you can then figure out how to write patch mods to connect all of that and make it coherent and semi-game balanced, and then infuse a story, right? Like, that's a lot for one person to do, and I'm like, I got work, so...
So I'm gonna ask you to hang around after the show. I wanna talk to you post show.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh,
But, I am working on a new idea. It's been a top secret project. One of my best playtesters, most loyal over the years, he hit me with this idea that gave me this whole vision
Diarrhea?
for Arkham Horrors as a 7 Days to Die mod.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
And so Escape from Lovecraft County is what I'm working on right now.
Okay. That seems interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Also, we have 11 minutes till.
Yep. I'm on
90.
there. Yeah, if we go over a little bit, I'm okay with that because we kind of diverged off a little bit. More A21 late. Yeah. Do you?
Oh, I also help the A team with XML. So when Ragsy needs a tester, eventually that'll be I'll help with Vehicle Madness, and I usually help Actinium Tiger with unlocks and things like that.
Okay. So
that's
you
the
do,
other project I'm actually attached to.
Yeah, you do
Now
like
that
QA
brain's
stuff.
in order.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I just love I love seeing cool shit get added to this game. So if I can help and I've got a minute, I want to do it.
Yeah, I definitely want to talk to you after the show then. Let's see. So with A21, I know on the unraid side for the containers, like people have been having some issues that I think are now resolved, where it wasn't using the batch mode, and dash no graphics for the server to start, but I think that's resolved. Because I do have a special little unraid channel on the 7D AC for that stuff. Because that helps the guy who writes the container on his end. But there's a lot of new server owners that are coming on the 7D AC, and I think we should probably do another, maybe like a article, like a server 101, for to point people towards, like, hey, this is what we've come up with. Like, if you're just starting out running a server, this is like things you should look for or things that you should do. What do you guys think about that?
So I do have a question along those lines, right? So one of the things, we started running servers in our community about a year ago when we played since Xbox. When I started getting into it and found out it was XML based, I was like, oh, okay, I know this. So there's a lot of the stuff that's pretty straightforward, and some of the stuff you can bumble your way through, but there's a lot of stuff in these XMLs that I don't really know what they do, and I don't really see a lot of good resources out there that tell me what that particular line of code is. Sometimes there's explanations in the files.
Sometimes there's not.
At the bottom or the top, and sometimes there's not. So,
Right.
It's like, where's a good resource I can go to see, like this does something. I'm like, oh, cool. Then I can go do this maybe with it,
All
So
right.
I think that's one of the biggest challenges I have as a modder right now.
So the suggestion that you're always going to get a lot is, if you're playing a mod that does something that you would want to do,
Go look at it. Yeah.
You go look at it. I mean, that's how I learned HTML back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what I do a lot of today. But a lot of times maybe I don't know what I'm looking for, because I see these things in there and I just don't know what they do. So
and one of the things is, since you're on the Discord, we have a whole section for modding. If you're not sure, take a snippet, paste it in there. If you do tilde XML and then space and then put your XML in, it'll come up. So feel free to ask away. I mean, especially if it's XML, drop it in the experts area, and if Salty can see it, and if you have to tag them, tag them. Salty's very good, and you know what? Maybe if Josh wants to become an XML expert on the 7D AC Discord too, you can bug him too.
I'm working on a bot for that.
I'll give you a little yellow roll, and Actually, I did have an idea, and it was Salty and someone else. I think it was Coy. I had an idea for a project of basically either a downloadable app or a web-based app where you could select options for what you're trying to do in XML. Like, I want to do a new recipe, and then maybe have drop downs or inputs that it could generate the XML for you. Like,
Yeah,
I
so
want to add a new recipe.
That's a really big file. Like, that's the problem. I'm working on a bot that does exactly that.
Okay.
It's the best format for deploying such a thing, because otherwise, number one, like, you're distributing a bunch of things that may or may not. I don't know. I got to look into the legality. But number two, instead of everyone downloading, X amount of hard drive space, right?
Well, that's what I was thinking, web-based.
Through Discord, and so you would add it to your Discord, Gup could add it to his, and it can, it has a vector database of all the XML properties and how to use them. And if we train it, I'm looking at fine-tuning StarCoder potentially, because it's already trained on instruction-based, chat-based, how to code something.
Okay.
And so by just teaching it the reference material, it will then be able to assist us with simple questions or things like that. But it's also another reason why I wanted a wiki, because that is something we can target so that it can look for real-time updates as well.
So is that bot self-hostable, or is that someone else's bot you're just tweaking?
I've written 3 different versions so far, and none of them work the way I want.
Well, when you get it done, if you can, make it self-hostable for Linux, I'll be glad to host it off my Unraid if it's a container, or I can get it made into a container.
Yeah, no, that it will definitely run on Linux self-hosted.
Because I run Redbot, the 70AC bot is Redbot. So, and I run that as a container on my Unraid box, which is what I use to host my game servers and my Plex and all that happy horse shit.
All right, then yeah, we need to talk after.
Yeah. Let's see, what other so like server side stuff, whether just starting out, because we get a lot of similar questions over and over again. So I definitely think the staff should probably put something together for the website, like, server 101 stuff of like, okay, you might come across this, or, we come across that as another resource to be able to, point these people to, and like, oh, here, no, hey, we have this article on our website, check this out. Because I have two guides on the 70AC website, one for setting up H77's container on Unraid, and one that I had him make the CSMM container for Unraid. And I have a whole guide for that that's on there as well for, my little Unraid people. Because then it's easy to self-host that way. And then when Catalysm's new project comes out, I will go back to Itch and have him make me a container for that too. As much 7 days to die support I give that guy, he's more than happy to make a container for me. I actually had to make one for Dead Matter for me, but now they're not going to be supporting Linux, and I'm angry at them people.
Yeah, I was really annoyed about that.
I'm like, dude, I don't want to run this shit on Windows. I want to run it on Linux on a container on my server.
Well, yeah, they said they were going to, but then they decided.
Yeah, I think they have other stuff they're more concerned with now. Like, it's probably something they can go back to. I'm like, listen, I don't want the game to run. I just want the server files on it. So, because I'm on their Discord too. And when they made that announcement, I was very upset. I'm being a little selfish there, but I know there's other people that would, prefer to run it in a container format on Linux, or even just as Linux files too. Let's see. We're A21. So we have the drinking water issue, the Jargate. What about them actually fixing the water from blocks to whatever they switched over to for the terrain water? Have we had any issues with that? Because I would like to see some boats as mods.
They have a placeholder for a raft already.
Ragsy's got a boat. He already released it.
Well,
last week.
Well, TFP said no new vehicles, so.
TFP also said they weren't going to hide the wires. So.
And the wires are hidden again like they used to be.
Yeah.
Unless you have a wire tool.
That's how I like it. That was like a a 16 thing.
That's why OCB Maurice's mod for that. His A21 version is just a mod info file. That's it.
Yeah, I don't want to see the wires. What I would really like is if you're gonna put electric in, if you would put like all right. So I used to sell electrical supplies. So like when you see the pipes on the wall, most of that is what's called EMT, electrometallic tubing. It's a very light, thin wall, just to protect the wires. If we're gonna have wires, then I'd rather be able to run that piping, and instead of seeing the ugly ass wires that are just hanging everywhere.
Well,
yes.
Invade voxel space.
Yeah, that's why TFP didn't do that. That was one of their original considerations.
But yeah.
But because of they didn't have the microvoxel thing, so.
This new class that handles the animations on blocks. Nah, I think that has to be on tile entities. Never mind.
Could you do it as a height map on a block? Like it detects that and changes it?
Probably not. I'm trying to think. Yeah, the blocks, they only store a limited amount of data if they're not a tile entity. So there's probably no space for it. I don't know.
slightly unrelated. Has anybody noticed that there are certain blocks that would like the new TV that they have, the one that's got the light and stuff in it. If you put it on something that's not a block tall, so say those end tables that are like half a block tall, it will actually drop onto that height.
Oh,
Has anybody
really?
played? Yeah, has anybody played around with that? I just noticed that a couple days
That's
ago.
cool. I hadn't. seen
Yeah.
that.
I had to go back and I'm like, what the hell did I just do? Because I decided to change out something and I put a new block there. I'm like, why is it poking through the TV? What's going on here? So
So you put out like the nightstand. It's not a full block high, and then you put the
yeah,
TV on it, and then the TV drops, or it just goes to that level.
the new TV, the big old console one.
Mm-hmm.
I guess not a console, but whatever. You know, the CRT TV.
Right.
Rather than it just being literally a block above or like on top of a block, so it floats.
Mm-hmm.
It dropped down to the top level of the block that I put it on. I don't know if it just happened to be that block that I put it on or what, but I wasn't sure if anybody else had noticed that.
I think some of the deco blocks are supposed to do that, but I think there's still some bugs with that where they end up underneath the blocks instead of on top of them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Is that going to be XML coding, or is that going to be C# coding for that?
I don't know, but I was wondering if somebody had noticed that.
You said it was the TV?
Yeah, the new one that's got the light in it and stuff.
Do you know what it's called right offhand?
TV something?
Hold on, I just pulled up the blocks on it.
Yeah,
Trying to see if I can
camera
find
now.
it. No, I'm in the XML.
Ah. I do actually have the XML open.
Oh, Koi popped in. Hey, Koi.
Hey, I'm just lurking.
So there's actually XML code in it for the block variant helper that says place at block value, and it says TV small stand 1 by 1. So it does have different things there. It looks like it that
specifically
might be
for those individual blocks.
I think so, but it's actually says it's actually for the TVs themselves, like place at so maybe I don't know for sure. I'd have to test that because if so, then you could just copy that in some way and put it on everything.
Yeah, I've seen that in a couple of other mods though too before in A19 and A20.
I'm interested to play around with that. I have several placeables that I've done, and
that would be a nice set of lines to add.
Now to test if the physics body lines up.
Yeah, right.
Well, somebody was asking that. Is there any physics problems in the game, like the block integrity? I guess in A20 it used to be a big issue when you hit bedrock.
I haven't noticed anything so far in Alpha 21.
Something like their bases would just randomly collapse.
Yeah, if you expose too much bedrock to air, then it would screw up the structural integrity and chunk. That's been an issue since like Alpha 15 or 14.
Oh, so that is still in the game then?
I don't know if it's still in Alpha 21. I haven't noticed it yet, but I haven't really, like gone and exposed 3 chunks worth of bedrock either.
Yeah, that's more like the PvP people sitting at the bottom of the world.
I mean, it's my first instinct is to get an underground base for that first 30 days, but I usually don't make it big enough just because I have low quality tools in those first couple weeks. So it's usually not that big of a space, so I haven't had any cave-ins in A21. But I don't make them large like I see them done on servers.
3 chunks, you need a clan of at a minimum 6 people, probably like 10 or more.
I think there's a problem in the stability code. If I recall, there's something like a 16 block limit. So
oh, that's been there since forever ago, the 16 block limit, I mean.
Yeah, but if you think about how the code would run through, that means if you expose too much bedrock, yeah, the whole thing would fall apart because there's nothing being calculated at the edge. It stops calculating.
Potentially, I'd have to look again. I didn't think of that.
It'd be like a void. It'd just be nothing.
It does that based on the block that's being added or removed. I'm pretty sure it checks the next 15 blocks near it, but it also checks the bottom, or it should. So if there's like a dirt pole, it should be stable in theory.
In theory, I remember in Alpha 20 there was a bug where if you did things in a certain order, it didn't recalculate the structural integrity the way it's supposed
True. Yeah, there's still some weird stuff with block collapse. If you do a really big collapse, weird stuff will float in the air, like signs and windows and
to.
shutters.
Yeah, that's still an issue. And it affects like neighboring POIs and stuff.
Yeah, weird stuff. Yeah.
I saw that on the test server yesterday.
It's these little weird ones I'd love to crunch. Like, just get rid of these problems once and for all. I don't want to see them for another 3 alphas. Like, there's no reason for that to make it into the gold before we're fixing it.
We're over on time.
Yeah, we are.
Ooh.
Yeah, I need to drop.
So we will, I guess we'll end there. Thank you everyone who came out and, you know, participated or just listened. And in fact, we're actually not over. We're at 1 hour, 30 minutes and 58 seconds. So, we're actually pretty good.
Oh, because we started late.
Right, right. We started late.
I'm just on the ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
So oh, sorry, just back to the TV thing real quick. I just pulled up the Alpha 20 blocks, and that code is not anywhere. Yeah, it's not anywhere in there. The chairs have it, but that seems to be about it. Maybe a couple other things.
Flashlights have it. I see it popping up in a lot of other places too.
Yeah, but
that's why the
it's
flashlight works.
yeah, it wasn't on TVs though in like Alpha 20, so that might be it.
Yeah, this is brand new. I've never seen this before.
They changed a lot of things over to hard models instead of blocks. That's probably why. Like the collision models or something are different.
Desk lamps, a lot of the lamps.
All right, so we'll exit out of the stream now. Again, thank everybody who came out, participated. You know, we had a nice turnout this time, and I like when we see a nice turnout. It actually gives me a little bit more motivation to keep doing these, because then I know we're actually, you know, reaching people, getting people involved, and our YouTube channel has 50 subscribers. Ooh, you know, 50.
Sweet.
50.
I didn't even bring up the video.
So, and yeah, so again, thank you everybody for coming out. We will see about doing another one of these next month. Maybe we'll have a guest, maybe we won't. We'll see what happens between then and now. And if anybody has any guest suggestions, just come to the Discord and just drop them in the Brain Drain channel, and we'll see if we can get them. But until next month.
Yes, sir.
Have an awesome one, guys.
See you, everyone.